Just getting set up real quick. Gonna get a little bit of music going.
Master of Realms is a powerful
Shut up, YouTube
3D
commercials, you suck.
with just a few strokes of the brush.
Okay. Um, let's make sure all these look like they're in good shape. Yeah, that seems okay. Alright, so I have this multi-biome texture that I've been working on. I want to kind of refine it and get it in good shape today. So that's kind of what I'm going to be working on. To start with, we're going to be looking at the temperature gradient. This should actually be max radius. Or this can actually be planet radius, but this is going to break it for previewing. So we're not going to do that yet. We'll get our noise function built again. I think that we can do this better. In fact, I know it because I made a material over here that's basically what I want to use. Pretty much. And so I basically just want to get a little bit better implementation of my temperature and moisture gradients. Primarily focusing on being able to control them properly. So that's what we're working on here. Texture, sample, parameter. Here noise 1. Temperature noise 2. We're gonna take VT 4 noise level 5, and we're gonna take VT gradient level 5. There we go. This multiply scalar temperature noise 1 scale. Scalar. Gonna sneeze. That time of the year. Alright, so we got this guy. We want to clamp this before we run it through power. Power. Scalar. The elevation temperature. Oh, no. Latitude, temperature, fall off. We can set this like 2 for now. Increases the dead zone of our temperature here. Line it all up. I'm hoping that this will be the last time I gotta do this. Okay, we got our noises here. For our distortion noise, we want to do this. We want to bring it into positive and negative range. We want to multiply it by some factor. Temperature distortion. Out. Temperature distortion. Noise scale. It's good. And then finally, we're gonna add this here, connect it up here. Okay, so, and then that's gonna give us this value. So if we're to minus 0.5 again, and then multiply by variance amount add then we could just add this. All right. Value range input. So our new minimum would be negative 0.5, and our new maximum would be 1.5. And we want a 0 to 1. Not sure if that's the way or not. We could also do a multiply, but if we do that, then we don't do this. So so multiply. And if we're going to do it by multiply, what we can actually do is the same thing, but then we're going to add 1 to it. And now it can go up or down. This again. Okay, that looks pretty good. The last thing we gotta do... One times 2, and then base. This should be our like baseline temperature for the planet. So base temperature. This gives us our variance right here, right? And then if we just multiply this again by baseline. Feels reasonable. Alright, so we got a new temperature noise. Hello and welcome. You can see me futz around with this all day. Hooray. Appease the OCD gods. Okay, and then the other thing that we're going to want is elevation. Because I want to do elevation-based temperature fall off now. So let's... elevation. Sure. You might also want to raise it to a power to start. Station temperature. Off, multiply, and then so this is going to be closer to white the higher it is. So we should probably clamp it and 1 minus it. Let me think. I guess if we're doing this, we could just... Alright, let's try just outputting this texture. I want to see how this affects the peaks in our planet. We do have to change this out now. Alright, and this. Let's go like this. Let's turn the elevation multiplier up here. So I think subtract is probably wrong. So what do we have here? We have a value that gets whiter when it's closer to the top of elevation. So if I clamp 1 minus, multiply, perhaps? We want to see those peaks. Cutting through a bit. I guess I should have found some mountains before I changed the texture out. It's hard to find them with just a static map here. Okay, let's here we go. Now you can see some mountain ridges. So what was that ridge that we were just looking at? Oh, no way. How can it not have an impact at 1 but it does at 2? Doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. Can I find some mountain ridges? Damn. Alright, well let's multiply this again. We'll have to figure out how we're gonna make this happen. But at least we can find some examples in the terrain with it set like this, and now we can turn it back down and look at the effect in this spot. mean, I could probably skip this and just divide this radius by the max radius. Achieve the same effects. Okay. Undo. Undo. If we just output, let's get our elevation sorted. Just purely output the elevation. Yeah, see, like this elevation is not well tuned, so we need to figure that out. So let's try multiplying the divisor. Yeah, see, like these should be close to max elevation, and it's not doing it that way. So something in our math there is messed up, and that's why we seem to be having a problem. Max radius minus the min radius gives us this. This is just our baseline. Okay, I see where we went wrong. So this is our current radius. From our current radius, we need to this is the planet radius minus our multiplier here is our min radius. So the current radius, get the current radius, subtract the minimum radius from it. That gets our elevation from the minimum radius. Maybe we don't actually care about... When I forgot that I was doing it inverted, so maybe we don't care about... I think we do care about min radius though. So we do this. We do this. Clamp it and flip it. Let's see how that looks. It's hard to tell. Yeah, see, like, we should be seeing, definitely, like, with it set up like it is now, this should be black. That was my assumption. Remap. The sample radius turn up the variance a bit because it should help with this in particular. Figured out what's wrong. I think this is the problem right here. Hopefully. Noise scale multiplied by half, multiplied by the mesh radius, added to the existing planet radius for the max radius and the minimum, and subtracted from it for the min radius. And then you subtract the min and max radius to get the max elevation. Still not right. It is having an effect though. You can kind of see it. So why is this effect so muted? Do we care about thinking? Do we care about elevation beyond sea level? Alright, I think we got something going here, so we'll just do... bring back in this, divide and clamp, power, let's try raising it to a power. Yeah, we just needed some fall off in there. Right, and then if we raise it to a very high power, progress. So this is closer to what we actually want. So part of this is I want to incorporate the temperature into, or the elevation into the temperature map. So that's kind of why I'm chasing this elevation field here. Elevation above sea level only. Oh yeah, we're fucking it with this now. Because I think we have like an accurate calculation, perhaps? No. Alright. We can't clamp it here, that's the problem. So we subtract the sea level radius here, and then max it with 0. And then this is our max sea level radius. So this minus this. We divide our height above sea level and then clamp it. Let's try that. Okay. This is looking a bit more reasonable. Okay, excellent. This is what we wanted, I think. Yes, yes. I think this is what we wanted. Now, can I pick out higher elevated spots and mountain peaks with this? It would appear that I can. Alright. So really, we need to calculate two things. We need to calculate your master just wrote elevation. That's like your pure elevation function that you use for your texture input, and then another one. For the temperature map. We are getting some elevation-based fall off, but it needs to be more. We're gonna need some noise to this as well. So if I just plug this temperature gradient right back into our overarching formula, my original temperature was here. So if I just plug this into here, then come back out here and just do this, what do we get? Hey, that already looks better. Our temperature map is flipped now, which is fine. The temperature goes into our sample somewhere right here. I wanted, when I was refactoring this, for white to be full temperature and 0 to be no temperature, just because it makes more like conceptual sense to me that it would work that way. At some point I'm going to have to address those things not cleaning themselves up properly as well. We've got like a little underwater mountain ridge over here. And gimbal walk down here, so I don't really want to hang out. Maybe a little bit better. I do need to get some lunch. I should have probably thought about that before spinning up the stream. But, you know, I didn't. Okay. I think now we're getting something that might be a little bit interesting. So we can take this elevation map and modify it by another noise. Let's just try this for now. And then multiply this by like 10. Obviously that's too much, but it is doing the thing that I think we want it to do. There we go. Now we've got our up and down variance going a bit. And I think instead of doing it like this, what we want to do is do a multiply. +1. It has a greater effect at higher altitudes and a lower effect at lower altitudes. And a -1. Let's give that a shot too. Flip the noise. Yeah, there we go. Now we're getting that kind of spindly change there. I think that's starting to look pretty good. Obviously the scale's all off, but I think it helps to increase the scale while we're working on this because we're working on elevation based stuff, and then turn it back down. And it's staying consistent now too, so we can actually turn it back down without any ill effects. Awesome. Okay, so that's definitely some advances on the temperature noise there. Next up, we need to work our way through the moisture noise. I think ChatGPT might have some ideas about that. Mr. ChatGPT, our coworker. Okay, let's see here. Let's clean this one up, and then I'm gonna get some lunch. Probably could use a new elevation function that returns multiple outputs. We would like to have min and max elevation, relative elevation, elevation over sea level. So I can think of 4 outputs that we want at the very least. So having all this in a function might make sense. Which we have right here. So noise scale, multiplier, mesh radius. I'm curious. Okay, it's just... Okay, that's fine. So let's go ahead and break this. We'll call this min radius max radius through elevation above sea level. Okay. I want to get rid of this. We'll just disconnect it for now. There's going to be a lot of cleanup to do in this material when we're done, but... Okay, so we got our noise scale input. We have to multiply this by 0.5. Then we multiply that by our mesh radius. And default this to object radius. That makes it useful for testing outside of our specific implementation here. So we're gonna multiply this again. Minus plus named reroute min radius to reroute max radius elevation scale. So with these we've got min radius, max radius, max minus the min, elevation scale, the distance to our sample point. I want this to be a input. And I'm going to be back on in a minute after I get lunch because I want to get a lot done with this weekend. Hopefully I can finish up the material, finish up the proceduralization harness, make some new gradient biomes. It's the distance between this and this is our current radius. If we subtract our minimum radius, let's do elevation raw. Elevation, and then I'm going to want 2 more. Relative elevation. And this should provide us with everything we need to work with in the rest of our material, hopefully. Okay, so the position minus the min radius is our raw elevation. The position minus our mesh radius, max was 0, is our raw elevation over sea level. And then our relative elevation would be this guy divided by our elevation scale. Elevation above sea level scale. this would be our max radius minus our mesh radius. And then finally, raw elevation above sea level is this guy. Divided by this guy. It might be useful to come back here and do below sea level stuff as well, but for now this should be fine. Get rid of this input. We don't need it. Use preview value as default. Use preview value as default. Use preview value as default. Save it. Alright, let's check our outputs here. Let's plug in a relative elevation. Appears to be working. Now let's check out our relative elevation above sea level. Okay, this one's not working. Ooh, okay. Relative elevation above sea level should be this guy. Yeah, so it's not this is our actual elevation above sea level right here. No, this is all fucked up. I don't know how I fucked this up when I was just looking at it, but this is fucked up. So world position distance. Subtract the minimum radius, and that gives you your raw elevation. Divide that by this, and that gets you your relative elevation. Your then subtract the object radius. This is your elevation above sea level. Yeah, that seems right. But then finally this is divided by your max radius minus your mesh radius. Yeah, okay, now it should work. Maybe. Well, shape map relative. Let's make it, force it to recalculate. Alright, well, I'm gonna come back in like 30 minutes and continue this. I gotta continue working on cleaning up this material and getting it ready to like finalize it and start making some like actual assets for it, because right now I only have 2 gradients, but I want gradients for a bunch of different types of planet biomes. So I will be back in maybe 30 minutes later.